Cease to persuade, my loving Proteus. Homekeeping youth have ever homely wits. Were it not affection chains thy tender days to the sweet glances of thy honored love, I rather would entreat thy company to see the wonders of the world abroad, than living dully, sluggardized at home, wear out thy youth with shameless idleness. But since thou lov'st, love still, and thrive therein, even as I would when I to love begin.
Wilt thou be gone? Oh, sweet Valentine, adieu. Think on thy Proteus when thou haply seest some rare noteworthy object in thy travel. Wish me partaker in thy happiness when thou dost meet good hap, and in thy danger, if ever danger do environ thee, commend my grievance to my holy prayers, for I will be thy beadsman, Valentine.
And on a love book pray for my success?
Upon some book I love, I'll pray for thee.
Oh, to be in love, where scorn is bought with groans, coy looks, and heart-sore sighs, one fading moment's mirth, with 20 watchful, weary, tedious nights. If haply won, perhaps a hapless gain. If lost, why then a grievous labor won. However, but a folly bought with wit, or else a wit by folly vanquished.
So by your circumstance you call me fool.
So, by your circumstance, I fear you'll prove.
'Tis love you cavil at, I'm not love.
Love is your master, for he masters you, and he that is so yoked by a fool, methinks, should not be chronicled for wise.
Yet writers say, as in the sweetest bud the eating canker dwells, so eating love inhabits in the finest wits of all.
And writers say, as the most forward bud is eaten by the canker ere it blow, even so by love the young and tender wit is turned to folly, blasting in the bud, losing his verdure even in the prime, and all the fair effects of future hopes. But wherefore waste I time to counsel thee that are a votary to fond desire? Once more, adieu. My father at the road expects my coming. They are to see me shipped.
And thither will I bring thee, Valentine.
Sweet Proteus, no. Now, let us take our leave. To Millen, let me hear from thee by letters of thy success in love, and what news else betideth here in absence of thy friend. And likewise will visit thee with mine.
All happiness perchance to thee in Millen.
As much to you at home, and so, farewell.
He after honour hunts, I after love. He leaves his friends to dignify them more. I leave myself, my friends and all, for love. Thou, Julia, thou hast metamorphosed me, made me neglect my studies, lose my time, war with good counsel, set the world at naught, made wit with musing weak, heart sick with thought.
Sir Proteus, save you, saw you my master.
But now he parted hence to embark for Millen.
20 to 1, then he's shipped already, and I've played the sheep in losing him.
Indeed, a sheep doth very often stray, and if the shepherd be a while away.
You conclude that my master is a shepherd then, and I a sheep?
I do.
Why then my horns are his horns, whether I wake or sleep.
A silly answer, and fitting well a sheep.
This proves me still a sheep.
True, and thy master a shepherd.
Nay, that I can deny a circumstance.
It shall go hard, but I'll prove it by another.
The shepherd seeks the sheep, and not the sheep the shepherd. But I seek my master, and my master seeks not me. Therefore, I am no sheep.
The sheep for fodder follows the shepherd for food follows not the sheep. Thou for wages followest thy master for wages follows not thee. Therefore, thou art a sheep.
Well, such another proof will make me cry bad.
But dost thou hear? Gavest thou my letter to Julia?
Aye, sir, I, a lost mutton, gave your letter to her, a laced mutton, and she, a laced mutton, gave me, a lost mutton, nothing for my labor.
Here's too small a pasture for such store of muttons. But what said she?
Aye.
Nod I? Why, that's noddy.
You mistook, sir. I say, she did not. And you ask me if she did not, and I say, aye.
And that set together is noddy.
You have taken the pains to set it together. Take it for your pains.
No, no, you shall have it for bearing the letter.
Well, I perceive I must be fain to bear with you.
Why, sir, how do you bear with me?
Marry, sir, the letter, very orderly, having nothing but the word naughty for my pains.
Beshrew me, but you have a quick wit.
And yet it cannot overtake your slow purse.
Come, come, open the matter in brief. What said she?
Open your purse that the money and the matter may be both at once delivered.
Well, sir, here is for your pains. What said she?
Truly, sir, I think you'll hardly win her.
Why? Couldst thou perceive so much from her?
Sir, I could perceive nothing at all from her. No, not so much as a ducat for delivering your letter. And being so hard to me that brought your mind, I fear she'll prove as hard to you in telling your mind. Give her no token but stones, for she's as hard as steel.
What said she? Nothing.
No, not so much as take this for thy pains. To testify your bounty, I thank you. You have testerned me, in requital whereof, henceforth, carry your letters yourself. And so, sir, commend you to my master.
Go, go, be gone to save your ship from wreck, which cannot perish, having thee aboard, being destined to a direr death on shore. I must go send some better messenger. I fear my Julia would not deign my lines, receiving them from such a worthless poet.
But say, Lucetta, now we are alone, wouldst thou then counsel me to fall in love?
Ay, madam, so you stumble not unheedfully.
Of all the fair resort of gentlemen that every day with Parl encounter me, in thy opinion, which is worthiest love?
Please you repeat their names. I'll show my mind according to my shallow, simple skill.
What thinkst thou of the fair Sir Eglamour?
As of a knight well spoken, neat and fine, but were I you, he never should be mine.
What thinkst thou of the rich Mercatio?
Well of his wealth, but of himself, so-so.
What thinkst thou of the gentle Proteus?
Lord, Lord, to see what folly reigns in us.
How now? What means this passion at his name?
Pardon, dear madam. 'Tis a passing shame that I, unworthy body as I am, should censure thus unlovely gentleman.
Why not on Proteus as of all the rest?
Then thus of many good I think him best.
Your reason?
I have no other but a woman's reason. I think him so because I think him so.
And wouldst thou have me cast my love on him?
Aye, if you thought your love not cast away.
Why, he, of all the rest, hath never moved me.
Yet he, of all the rest, I think, best loves ye.
His little speaking shows his love but small.
Fire that's closest kept burns most of all.
They do not love that do not show their love.
Oh, they love least that let men know their love.
I would I knew his mind.
Peruse this paper, madam.
Miss Julia, say from whom?
That the contents will show.
What they say who gave it thee?
Valentine's page, and sent, I think, from Proteus. He will have given it to you, but I, being in the way, did in your name receive it. Pardon the fault, I pray.
Now by my modesty, a goodly broker, dare you presume to harbour wanton lies, to whisper and conspire against my youth? Now, trust me, 'tis an office of great worth, and to you an officer fit for the place, or else return no more into my sight.
To plead for love deserves more fee than hate.
Will you be gone?
That you may ruminate.
And yet, I would I had overlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again, and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. What a fool is she that knows I am a maid, and would not force the letter to my view, since maids in modesty say no to that which they would have the profferer construe I. How churlishly I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. Oh, how angrily I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back, and ask remission for my folly past. What ho! Lucetta!
What will your ladyship?
It's near dinner time.
I would it were, that you might kill your stomach on your meat and not upon your maid.
What is that you look up so gingerly?
Nothing?
Why didst thou stoop then?
To take a paper that I let fall.
And is that paper nothing?
Nothing concerning me.
Then let it lie for those that it concerns.
Madam, it would not lie where it concerns unless it have a false interpreter.
This babble shall not henceforth trouble me. Here is a coil with protestation. So, get you gone, and let the papers lie. You would be fingering them to angering me.
She makes it strange, but she would be best pleased to be so angered with another letter.
Nay, I would be angered with the same. Oh, hateful hands, to tear such loving words! Injurious wasps to feed on such sweet honey and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Look, here, it's writ, kind Julia, unkind Julia, as in revenge for thy ingratitude. I throw my name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And here is writ, love wounded Proteus, poor wounded name. My bosom is a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed, and thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. But thrice or twice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word, till I have found each letter in the letter, except mine own name, that some whirlwind bear into a rugged, fearful hanging rock, and throw it thence into the raging sea. Lo, here, in one line, is his name writ twice. Poor forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, the sweet Julia, that I'll tear away. And yet I will not, so prettily. He couples it to his complaining names. Thus will I fold them on one another. Now kiss, embrace, contend, do what you will.
Madam, dinner is ready and your father stays.
Well, let us go.
What shall these papers lie like telltales here?
If you respect them, best to take them up.
Nay, I was taken up for laying them down.
Come, what please you go?
Tell me, Bandino, what sad talk was that wherewith my brother held you in the cloister?
Oh, 'twas of his nephew Proteus, your son.
Why, what of him?
He wondered that your lordship would suffer him to spend his youth at home, while other men of slender reputation put forth their sons to seek preferment out. Some to the wars to try their fortune there, some to discover islands far away, some to the studious universities. For any or all these exercises, he said that Proteus, your son, was meet, and did request me to importune you to let him spend his time no more at home, which would be great impeachment to his age, and having known no travel in his youth.
No needst thou much importune me to that wherein this month I have been hammering. I've considered well his loss of time, and how he cannot be a perfect man, not being tried and tutored in the world. Experience is by industry achieved and perfected by the swift course of time. Tell me, whither were I best to send him?
Oh, I think your lordship is not ignorant how his companion, youthful Valentine, attends the emperor in his royal court.
I know it well.
'Twere good. I think your lordship sent him thither. There shall he practice tilts and tournaments, hear sweet discourse, converse with noblemen, and be in the eye of every exercise worthy his youth and nobleness of birth.
I like thy counsel. Well hast thou advised, and that thou mayest perceive how well I like it, the execution of it shall make it known. Even with the speediest expedition, I will dispatch him to the emperor's court.
Sweet love, sweet lines, sweet life. Here is her hand, the agent of her heart. Here is her oath for love, her honour's pawn. Oh, that our fathers would applaud our loves, to seal our happiness with their consents. Oh, heavenly Julia.
How now? What letter are you reading there?
Oh, may it please your lordship, 'tis a word or two of commendation sent from Valentine, delivered by a friend that came from him.
Well, here, lend me the letter. Let me see what news.
Oh, there is no news, my lord, but that he writes how happily he lives, how well beloved and daily graced by the emperor, wishing me with him, partner of his fortune.
And how stand you affected to his wish?
As one relying on your lordship's will, and not depending on his friendly wish.
My will is something sorted with his wish. Muse not that I thus suddenly proceed, for what I will, and there's an end. I am resolved that you shall spend some time with Valentinus in the emperor's court, What maintenance he from his friends receive, like exhibition thou shalt have from me. Tomorrow, be in readiness to go. Excuse it not, for I am peremptory.
My lord, I cannot be so soon provided. Please, you deliberate a day or two.
Look, what thou want'st shall be sent after thee. No more of stay. Tomorrow thou must go. Come on, Panthino, you shall be employed to hasten his expedition.
Thus have I shunned the fire for fear of burning and drenched me in the sea, where I am drowned. I fear to show my father Julia's letter, lest he should take exceptions to my love. And with the vantage of mine own excuse, hath he accepted most against my love. Oh, how this spring of love resembleth the uncertain glory of an April day, which now shows all the beauty of the sun, and by a cloud takes all away.
Sir Proteus, your father calls for you, and he's in haste. Therefore, I pray you, go.
Why, this it is. My heart accords thereto, and yet 1,000 times it answers no.
Sir, your glove.
Nope, not mine. My gloves are on.
Why, then this may be yours, for this is Verona.
Oh, let me see. Give it me. Give it me. Oh, it's mine. Sweet ornament that decks a thing divine. Oh, Sylvia. Sylvia.
Madam Sylvia! Madam Sylvia!
How now, Sirrah?
She's not within hearing, sir.
Why, sir, who bade you call her?
Your worship, sir, or else I mistook.
Well, you'll still be too forward.
And yet I was last chidden for being too slow.
Go to, sir. Tell me, do you know Madam Sylvia?
She that your worship loves?
What? How know you that I'm in love?
Marry by these special marks. First, you have learned, like Sir Proteus, to wreathe your arms like a malcontent, to relish a love song like a robin redbreast, to walk alone like one that had the pestilence, to sigh like a schoolboy that lost his ABC, to weep like a young wench that had buried her grandam, to fast like one that takes diet, to watch like a beggar at hollow mass. You were wont when you laughed to crow like a cock. When you walked, to walk like one of the lions. When you fasted, it was presently after dinner. When you looked sadly, it was for want of money. And now you are metamorphosed with a mistress that when I look on you, I can hardly think you my master.
But tell me, dost thou know my lady Sylvia?
She that you gaze on so as she sits at supper.
Hast thou observed that? Even she, I mean.
Why, sir, I know her not.
Dost thou know her by my gazing on her, and yet knowst her not?
Is she not hard favored, sir?
Not so fair, boy, as well favored.
Sir, I know that well enough.
What dost thou know?
That she is not so fair as of you well favored.
I mean that her beauty is exquisite, but her favor infinite.
That's because the one is painted and the other out of all count.
How painted, and how out of count?
Mary, sir, so painted to make her fair that no man counts of her beauty.
How esteemest thou me? I account of her beauty.
You never saw her since she was deformed.
How long has she been deformed?
Ever since you loved her.
I have loved her ever since I saw her, and still I see her beautiful.
If you love her, you cannot see her.
Why?
Because love is blind. That you had mine eyes, or your own eyes had the lights they were wont to have when you chid at Sir Proteus for going ungartered.
Well, what should I see then?
Your own present folly and her passing deformity. For he being in love could not see to garter his hose, and you being in love cannot see to put on your hose.
But like boy, then you were in love, for last morning you could not see to wipe my shoes.
True, sir, I was in love with my bed. I think you swinged me from my love, which makes me the bolder to chide the reapers.
Last night, she enjoined me to write some lines to one that she loves.
And have you?
I have.
Are they not lamely writ?
No, boy, but as well as I can do them. Here she comes.
Excellent motion, oh, exceeding puppet. Now will he interpret to her?
Madam and mistress, 1,000 good morrows.
Oh, give ye good even. There's a million of manners.
Sir Valentine and servant, to you 2,000.
You should give her interest, and she gives it him.
As you enjoined me, I have writ your letter unto that secret nameless friend of yours, which I was much unwilling to proceed in, but for my duty to your ladyship.
Oh, I thank you, gentle servant. 'Tis very clerkly done.
Now, trust me, madam, it came hardly off. For being ignorant to whom it goes, I writ it random, very, very doubtfully.
Perchance you think too much of so much pains.
No, madam, so stead at you, I will write, please you command, 1,000 times as much. And yet,
A pretty period. Well, I will guess the sequel. And, no, and yet I will not name it. And yet I care not. And yet, no, take this again. And yet I thank you, meaning henceforth to trouble you no more.
And yet you will, and yet another yet.
what means your ladyship? Do you not like it?
Yes, the lanes are very quaintly writ, but since unwillingly, take them again. Nay, take them.
Madam, they are for you.
You writ them, sir, at my request, but I will none of them. They are for you. I would have had them writ more movingly.
Oh, please you, I'll write your ladyship another.
And when it's writ, for my sake, read it over, and if it please you, so. If not, why, so.
If it please me, madam, why, what then?
Why, if it please you, take it for your labor, and so. Good morrow, servant.
Oh, just unseen, inscrutable, invisible as a nose on a man's face or a weathercock on a steeple. My master sues to her, and she hath taught her suitor, he being her pupil, to become her tutor. Excellent device. Was there ever heard a better that my master, being scribe to himself, should write the letter?
How now, sir, are you reasoning with yourself?
Nay, I was rhyming. 'Tis you that have the reason.
To do what?
To be a spokesman for Madame Sylvia.
To whom?
To yourself. Well, she woos you by a figure.
What figure?
A letter, I should say.
What? She hath not writ to me.
What needs she when she hath made you write to yourself? Why, do you not perceive the jest?
No, believe me.
No, believing you indeed, sir, but did you perceive her earnest?
She gave me none except an angry word.
Why, she hath given you a letter.
That's the letter I writ to her friend.
And that letter hath she delivered, and there an end.
I would it were no worse.
I warrant you, 'tis as well. For often have you writ to her, and she in modesty, or else for want of idle time, could not again reply. Or fearing else some messenger that might her mind discover herself, hath taught her love himself to write unto her lover. All this I speak in print, for in print I found it. Why muse you, sir? 'Tis dinner time.
I have dined.
Aye, but hearken, sir, though the chameleon love can feed on the air, I am one that am nourished by my victuals, and would fain have meat. Be not like your mistress, be moved, be moved.
Have patience, gentle Julia.
I must, where is no remedy.
When possible, I will return.
If you turn not, I will return the sooner. Keep this remembrance for thy Julia's sake.
Why then, we'll make exchange here. Take you this.
Seal the bargain with a holy kiss.
Here is my hand for my true constancy. And when that hour all slips me in the day, wherein I sign not, Julia, for thy sake, the next ensuing hour some foul mischance torment me for my love's forgetfulness. My father stays my coming. Answer not. The tide is now. Nay, not the tide of tears. That tide will slay me longer than I should. Julia, farewell.
Nay, 'twill be an hour ere I've done weeping. All the kind of lances have this very fault. I perceived my proportion like the prodigious sun, and I'm going with Sir Proteus to the Imperial's court. I think Sevi, my dog, be the sourest natured dog that lives. My mother weeping, my father wailing, my sister crying, our maid howling, our cat wringing her hands, and all our house in a great perplexity. Yet did not this cruel-hearted cur shed one tear? He's a stone. He's a very, very pebble stone. It has no more pity in him than a dog. Why, my grandam, having no eyes, look you, wept herself blind at my pardon. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No. This left shoe is my father. No. This left shoe is my mother. Nay, no, that cannot be so either. Yeah. No, yeah, it's so. It has a word of soul. This shoe with a hole in it is my mother, and this my father. A vengeance on it. There too. Okay, now sit this staff, my sister. And for, look you, she has white as a lily and small as a wand. Nay, no, this hat is Nan, our maid. I'm the dog. No, dog's himself. And I am the dog. I'm the dog. Ooh, the dog is me. And I am myself. I. So. Now, come I to my father. Father. Father, your blessing. Father, well, he weeps on. Now come I to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a wood woman. Well, I kiss her. Why, there 'tis. Here, my mother's breath up and down. Now come I to my sister. Mark the moan she makes. And now, dog, all this while, sheds not a tear, nor speaks a word, but see how I lay the dust with my tears.
Lance!
Huh?
Lance! Away! Aboard! Thy master is shipped, and thou art to post after with oars. What is the matter? Why weepst thou, man? Oh, away, ass! You'll lose the tide if you tarry any longer.
It is no matter if the tide were lost, for it is the unkindest tide that ever any man tied.
What's the unkindest tide?
He that's tied here, Crab, Sevy, my dog.
Tut. I mean, thou lose the flood, and in losing the flood, lose the voyage, and in losing the voyage, lose thy master, and in losing thy master, lose thy service, and in losing thy service, why dost thou stop my mouth?
For fear thou should lose thy tongue.
Where should I lose my tongue?
In thy tail.
In thy tail?
Lose the tide and the voyage and the master and the service and the tide. Why? Man, if the river were dry, I'm able to fill it with my tears. If the wind were down, I could drive the boat with my sighs.
Come. Away, man. I was sent to call thee.
Sir, call me what thou darest.
I'll go.
Well, yeah, well, I'll go.
Servant!
Mistress?
Master, Sir Thurio frowns on you.
Aye, boy, it's for love.
Not of you.
No, of my mistress, then.
Good you knocked him.
Servant? Oh, servant, you are sad.
Indeed, madam, I seem so.
Hmm.
What was that?
Seem you that you are not?
Oh, happily, I do.
So do counterfeits.
So do you.
What, seem I that I am not?
Wise.
Angry, Sir Thurio. Do you change color?
I'll give him leave, madam. He's a kind of chameleon.
That hath no more want to feed on your blood than live in your air.
Oh, you have said, sir.
Aye, sir, and done too for this time.
I know it well, sir. You always end ere you begin.
A fine volley of words, gentlemen, and quickly shot off.
'Tis indeed, madam, we thank the giver.
Who's that, servant?
Yourself, sweet lady, for you gave the fire. Sir Thurio borrows his wit from your ladyship's looks, and spends what he borrows kindly in your company.
Sir, if you spend word for word with me, I shall make your wit bankrupt.
I know it well, sir. You have an exchequer of words, and I think no other treasure to give your followers, for it appears by their bare liveries that they live by your bare words.
No more, gentlemen, no more. Oh, here comes my father.
Now, daughter Sylvia, you are hard beset. Sir Valentine, your father's in good health. What say you to a letter from your friends of much good news?
My lord, I will be thankful to any happy messenger from thence.
Know you Don Antonio, your countryman?
Aye, my good lord, I know the gentleman to be of worth and worthy estimation, and not without desert, so well reputed.
Not a son?
Aye, my good lord, a son that well deserves the honor and regard of such a father.
You know him well?
I know him as myself, for from our infancy we have conversed and spent our hours together, as though myself, I have been an idle truant, omitting the sweet benefit of time to clothe mine age with angel-like perfection. Yet hath Sir Proteus, for that's his name, made use and fair advantage of his days. His years but young, but his experience old, his head unmellowed, but his judgment ripe, and in a word, for far beneath his worth comes all the praise that I now bestow. He is complete in feature and in mind, with all good grace to grace a gentleman.
Beshrew me, sir, but if he makes this good, he is as worthy for an empress' love as meet to be an emperor's counsellor. Well, sir, this gentleman is come to me with commendation from great potentates, and here he means to spend his time a while. I think 'tis no unwelcome news to you.
Oh, should I have wished to think it had been he?
Welcome him then according to his worth. Sylvia, I speak to you, and you, Sir Thurio. For Valentine, I need not cite him to it. Hither to you presently.
This is the gentleman I told your ladyship had come along with me, but that his mistress did hold his eyes locked in her crystal looks.
But we like that now she hath enfranchised them upon some other pawn for fealty.
Nay, sure, I think she holds them prisoners still.
Nay, then he should be blind, and being blind, how could he see his way to seek you out?
My lady love hath 20 pairs of eyes.
So they say that love hath not an eye at all.
To see such lovers, Thurio, as yourself, upon a homely object, love can wink.
Have done, have done. Yep. Oh, here comes a gentleman.
Welcome, dear Proteus! Oh, mistress, I beseech you, confirm his welcome with some special favor!
Is warrant for his welcome hither, if this be he you often wish to hear from.
Oh, mistress, it is. Sweet lady, entertain him to be my fellow servant to your ladyship.
Too low a mistress for so high a servant.
Not so, sweet lady, but too mean a servant to have a look of such a worthy mistress.
Oh, leave off discourse of disability. Sweet lady, entertain him for your servant.
Servant, you are welcome to a worthless mistress.
I'll die on him that says so, but yourself.
That you are welcome.
That you are worthless.
Madam, my lord, your father would speak with you.
I wait upon his pleasure. Come, Sir Thurio, go with me. Once more, new servant, welcome. I'll leave you to confer of home affairs. When you have done, we look to hear from you.
We'll both attend upon your ladyship.
Now, tell me, how do all from whence you came?
Your friends are well and have them much commended.
And how do yours?
I left them all in health.
How does your lady? How thrives your love?
My tales of love were wont to weary you. I know you joy not in a love discourse.
Aye, Proteus, but that life is altered now. I have done penance for condemning love, whose high imperious thoughts have punished me with bitter fasts, with penitential groans, with nightly tears and daily heart-sore sighs, for in revenge of my contempt of love, love hath chased sleep from my enthralled eyes, and made them watchers of mine own heart's sorrow. Oh, gentle Proteus, love is a mighty lord, and hath so humbled me, as I confess, there is no woe to his correction, nor to his service no such joy on earth. Now, no discourse, except it be of love. Now can I break my fast, dine, sup, and sleep upon the very naked name of love.
Enough! I read your fortune in your eye. Was this the idol that you worship so?
Even she, is she not a heavenly saint?
No, but she is an earthly paragon.
Call her divine.
I will not flatter her.
Oh, go flatter me! For love delights in praises.
When I was sick, you gave me bitter pills, and I must minister the like to you.
Pardon me, Proteus, all I can is nothing to her, whose worth makes other worthies nothing. She is alone.
Then let her alone.
Not for the world. Why, man, she is mine own. And I, as rich in having such a jewel as 20 seas, if all their sand were pearl, the water nectar, and the rocks pure gold. Forgive me that I do not dream on thee, because thou seest me dote upon my love. My foolish rival that her father likes only for his possessions are so huge is gone with her along, and I must after, for love, thou knowest, is full of jealousy.
But she loves you.
Aye, and we are betrothed. Nay, more, our marriage hour, with all the cunning manner of our flight determined of. How I must climb her window, the ladder made of cords, and all the means plotted and agreed on for my happiness. Good Proteus, go with me to my chamber in these affairs to aid me with thy counsel.
Go on before, I shall inquire you forth. I must onto the road to disembark some necessaries that I needs must use, and then I'll presently attend you.
We make haste.
I will. Oh. Even as one heat another heat expels, or as one nail by strength drives out another, so the remembrance of my former love is quite forgot. Oh, is it mine, or Valentine's praise, her true perfection, or my false transgression that makes me reasonless to reason thus? She is fair, and so is Julia that I love, that I did love. For now my love is thawed, which like a waxen image gainst a fire bears no impression of the thing it was. Methinks my zeal to Valentine is cold, and that I love him not as I was wont. Oh, but I love this lady too much, and that's the reason I love him so little. 'Tis but her picture I have yet beheld, and that hath dazzled my reason's light. But when I look on her perfections, there is no reason but I shall be blind. If I can check my erring love, I will. If not, to compass her, I'll use my skill.
Lawrence. Oh, by mine honesty, welcome to Millen.
Forswear not thyself, sweet youth, for I'm not welcome. I reckon this always, that a man's never undone till he be hanged, nor never welcome to a place till some certain shot be paid, and the hostess say welcome.
Oh, come on, you madcap, out of the alehouse with you presently, where for one shot of 5 pence, thou shalt have 5,000 welcomes. How did thy master part with Madame Julia?
Now, after they closed in earnest, they parted fairly in jest.
Shall she marry him?
No.
How then, shall he marry her?
No, neither.
What, are they broken?
No, they're both as whole as fish.
Why then, how stands the matter with them?
Marry thus, when it stands well with them, it stands well with her.
What an ass art thou, I understand thee not.
What a block art thou that thou canst not? My staff understands me.
What thou sayest?
What I do, look thee, but lean, my staff understands me.
Stands under thee, indeed.
Oh, I stand under and understand is all one.
But tell me true, will be a match?
Ask my dog. If he say aye, it will. If he say no, it will. If he shake his tail, say nothing, then I will.
Well, then the conclusion is that it will.
Thou shalt never get such a secret from me, but by a parable.
It is well that I get it so, but Launce, how sayest thou that my master has become a notable lover?
I never knew him otherwise.
Then how?
A notable lover that thou reportest him to be.
Why, thou horse and ass, thou mistakest me.
Why, fool, I meant not thee, I meant thy master.
I tell thee, my master has become a hot lover.
Oh, I tell thee, I care not, though he burn himself in love. If thou wilt, go with me to the alehouse.
At thy service.
To leave my Julia shall I be forsworn. To love fair Sylvia shall I be forsworn. To wrong my friend I shall be much forsworn. And even that power which gave me first my oath provokes me to this threefold perjury. Love bade me swear, and love bids me forswear. Oh, sweet suggesting love, if thou hast sinned, teach me, thy tempted subjects, to excuse it. At first I did adore a twinkling star, and now I worship a celestial sun. I cannot leave to love, and yet I do. But there I leave to love where I should love. Julia I lose, and Valentine I lose. If I keep them, I must needs lose myself. If I lose them, thus I find by their loss, for Valentine myself, for Julia Sylvia. I will forget that Julia is alive, remembering that my love to her is dead, and Valentine I'll hold an enemy aiming at Sylvia as my sweeter friend. I cannot prove constant to myself without some treachery used to Valentine. This night he meaneth with a corded ladder to climb Sylvia's chamber window, myself in counsel, his competitor. Now presently I'll give a farther notice of their disguising and pretended flight, who all in rage will banish Valentine. For Thurio he intends shall wed his daughter, but Valentine being gone, I'll quickly cross by some sly trick, blunt Thurio's dull proceeding. Love lend me wings to make my purpose swift, as thou hast lent me wit to plot this drift.
Counsel, Lucetta, gentle girl, assist me, and even in kind love I do conjure thee, who art the table wherein all my thoughts are visibly charactered and engraved. Listen me and tell me what would mean how with my honour I might undertake a journey to my loving Proteus.
Alas, the way is wearisome and long.
A true devoted pilgrim is not weary. measure kingdoms with his feeble step, much less that she that hath love wings to fly, and when the flight is made to one so dear of such divine perfection as some Proteus.
Better forbear till Proteus make return.
Knowest thou not his looks are my soul's food? Pity the dearth that I have pined in by longing for that food so long a time. Thou but know, inly touch of love, thou wouldst as soon go kindle fire with snow as seek to quench the fire of love with words.
I do not seek to quench your love's hot fire, but qualify the fire's extreme rage, lest it should burn above the bounds of reason.
The more thou burns it up, the more it burns. The current that with gentle murmur glides, thou knowest being stopped, impatiently doth rage. But when his fair course is not hindered, he makes sweet music with enamelled stones, giving a gentle kiss. Every sedge he overtaketh in his pilgrimage, and so many winding nooks he strays, willing sports to the wild ocean. Let me go, and hinder not my course. I'll be as patient as a gentle stream, and make a pastime of each weary step, for the last step have brought me to my love.
In what habit will you go along?
Not like a woman, for I would prevent the loose encounters of lascivious men. Gentle Lucetta, fit me with such weeds as may beseem some well-reputed page.
Why, then your ladyship must cut your hair.
No! Oh! I'll knit it up with silken strings, with 20-odd conceited true love knots. To be fantastic may become a youth of greater time than I shall show to be.
What fashion, madam, shall I make your breeches?
That fits me as well as... Tell me, good my lord, what compass will you wear your farthingale? Why, even what fashion thou best likest, Lucetta?
You must needs have them with a cut piece, madam.
Out! Out, Lucetta! That would be ill-favored.
A round hose, madam. Now's not worth a pin, unless you have a cut piece to stick pins on.
Lucetta, as thou lovest me, let me have what thou thinkest meet and is most mannerly. But tell me, wench, how will the world repute me for undertaking so unstaid a journey? I fear me it will make me scandalized.
If you think so, then stay at home and go not.
Nay, that I will not.
Then never dream of on infamy, but go. If Proteus like your journey when you come, no matter who's displeased when you're gone, I fear me he will scarce be pleased withal.
That is the least, Lucetta, of my fear. 1,000 oaths, an ocean of his tears, and instances of infinite love warrant me welcome to my Proteus.
All these are servants to deceitful men.
Base men that use them to base effect, but truer stars did govern Proteus's birth. His words are bonds, his oaths are oracles, his love sincere, his thoughts immaculate, his tears pure messengers from his heart as far from fraud as heaven from earth.
Pray heaven he proves so when you come to him.
Now, as thou lovest me, do him not that wrong to bear a hard opinion of his truth. Only deserve my love by loving him. And presently, go with me to my chamber, take a note of what I stand in need of. Furnish me upon my longing journey. All that is mine, I leave at thy dispose. My goods, my land, my reputation. Only, in lieu thereof, dispatch me hence. Come, answer me not, but presently. I am impatient of my tarriance.
Sir Thurio, give us leave, I pray, a while. We have some secrets to confer about. Now, tell me, Proteus, what's your will with me?
My gracious lord, that which I would discover the law of friendship bids me to conceal. But when I call to mind your gracious favours, done to me, undeserving as I am, my duty pricks me on to utter that which else no worldly good should draw from me. No, worthy prince, Sir Valentine, my friend, this night intends to steal away your daughter. Myself and one made privy to the plot. I know you have determined to bestow her on Thurio, whom your gentle daughter hates, And should she thus be stolen away from you, it would be much vexation to your age. Thus, for my duty's sake, I rather choose to cross my friend in his intended drift than by concealing it, heap on your head a pack of sorrows which would press you down, being unprevented, to your timeless grave.
Proteus, I thank thee for thine honest care, which to requite command me while I live. This love of theirs myself have often seen, haply when they have judged me fast asleep, and oftentimes have purposed to forbid Sir Valentine her company and my court. But fearing lest my jealous aim might err, and so unworthily disgrace the man, a rashness that I ever yet have shunned, I gave him gentle looks, thereby to find that which thyself hast now disclosed to me. And that thou mayst perceive my fear of this, knowing that tender youth is soon suggested, I nightly lodge her in an upper tower, the key whereof myself have ever kept, and thence she cannot be conveyed away.
No, noble lord, they have devised a mean how he her chamber window will ascend, and with a corded ladder fetch her down, for which the youthful lover now is gone, and this way comes he with it presently. Where if it please you, you may intercept him, but good my lord, do it so cunningly that my discovery be not aimed at, for love of you, not hate unto my friend hath made me publisher of this pretence.
Upon mine honour, he shall never know that I had any light of this from
Adieu,
thee.
my lord, Sir Valentine is coming.
Sir Valentine, whither away so fast?
Please, your grace, there's a messenger that stays to bear my letters to my friends, and I'm going to deliver them.
Be they of much import?
The tenor of them doth but signify my health and happy being at your court.
Nay then, no matter. Stay with me a while. I am to break with thee of some affairs that touch me near, wherein thou must be secret. It is not unknown to thee that I have sought to match my friend Sathurio to my daughter.
I know it well, my lord, and sure, that match were rich and honorable. Besides, the gentleman is full of virtue, bounty, worth, and qualities beseeming such a wife as your fair daughter. Cannot your grace win her to fancy him?
No, trust me, she is peevish, sullen, froward, proud, disobedient, stubborn, lacking duty, neither regarding that she is my child, nor fearing me as if I were her father. And may I say to thee, this pride of hers, upon advice, hath drawn my love from her. And where I thought the remnant of mine age should have been cherished by her childlike duty, I now am full resolved to take a wife and turn her out to who will take her in. Then let her beauty be her wedding dower. For me and my possessions she esteems not.
What would your grace have me to do in this?
There is a lady in Verona here whom I affect, but she's nice and coy, and naught esteems my aged eloquence. Now, therefore, would I have thee to my tutor? For long agone I have forgot to court. Besides, the fashion of the time is changed. How and which way I may bestow myself to be regarded in her sun-bright eye.
Win her with gifts, if she respects not words. Dumb jewels, often in their silent kind, more than quick words do move a woman's mind.
But she did scorn a present that I sent her.
A woman sometimes scorns what best contents her. Send her another, never give her o'er, for scorn at first makes after love the more. If she do frown, it's not in hate of you, but rather to beget more love in you. If she do chide, it's not to have you gone, for why the fools are mad if left alone. Take no repulse, whatever she doth say, for get you gone, she doth not mean away. Flatter and praise, commend, extol their graces, though ne'er so black, say they have angels' faces. That man that hath a tongue, I say, is no man, if with his tongue he cannot win a woman.
But she, I mean, is promised by her friends unto a youthful gentleman of worth, and kept severely from resort of men, that no man hath access by day to her.
Well, then I would resort to her by night.
But the doors be locked and keys kept safe, that no man hath recourse to her by night.
But one may enter in her window.
Our chamber is a loft far from the ground, and built so shelving that one cannot climb it without apparent hazard of his life.
Why then, a ladder, quaintly made of cords, to cast up with a pair of anchoring hooks, would serve to scale another hero's tower, so bold Leander would adventure it.
Now, as thou art a gentleman of blood, advise me where I may have such a ladder.
When would you use it? Pray, sir, tell me that.
This very night. For love is like a child that longs for everything that he can come by.
By 7 o'clock, I'll get you such a ladder.
Oh, but hark thee, I will go to her alone. How shall I best convey the ladder thither?
It will be light, my lord, that you may bear it under a cloak that is of any length.
A cloak as long as thine will serve the turn.
Aye, good, my lord.
Then let me see the cloak. No, I'll get me one of such another length.
Why, any cloak will serve the turn, my lord.
Oh, how shall I fashion me to wear a cloak? I pray thee, let me feel thy cloak upon me. Come on. Ah. Oh. What letter is this same? What's here? To Sylvia. And here an engine fit for my proceeding. I'll be so bold to break the seal for once. My thoughts do harbour with my Sylvia nightly, and slaves they are to me that send them flying. Oh, could their master come and go as lightly, himself would lodge where senseless they are lying. My herald thoughts in thy pure bosom rest them, while I their king that hither them importune do curse the grace that with such grace hath blessed them, because myself do want my servants' fortune. I curse myself, for they are sent by me, that they should harbour where their lord would be. What's here? Sylvia, this night I will enfranchise thee. Is so. And here's the ladder for the purpose. Go, base intruder, overweening slave, and if thou linger in my territories longer than swiftest expedition will give thee time to leave our royal court, by heaven, my wrath shall far exceed the love I ever bore my daughter or thyself. Begone! I will not hear thy vain excuse, but as thou lovest thy life, make speed from hence.
And why not death, rather than living torment? To die is to be banished from myself, and Sylvia is myself. Banished from her is self from self, a deadly banishment. What light is light if Sylvia be not seen? What joy is joy if Sylvia be not by? Unless it be to think that she is by and feed upon the shadow of perfection. Except I be by Sylvia in the night, there is no music in the nightingale. Unless I look on Sylvia in the day, there is no day for me to look upon. She is my essence, and I leave to be if I be not by her fair influence fostered, illumined, cherished, kept alive. I fly not death to fly his deadly doom. Tarry I here, I but attend on death. But fly I hence, I fly away from life.
Run, boy, run and seek him out.
So,
What seest thou?
him we go to find. There's not a hair on his head, but 'tis a Valentine.
Valentine.
No.
Who then? His spirit?
Neither.
What then?
Nothing.
Can nothing speak? Master, shall I strike?
What wouldst thou strike?
Nothing.
Villain, forbear.
Why, sir, I'll strike nothing. I pray you.
Sirrah, I said forbear. Friend Valentine, a word.
My ears are stopped and cannot hear good news, so much of bad already hath possessed them.
Then in dumb silence will I bury mine, for they are harsh, untunable, and bad.
Is Sylvia dead?
No, Valentine.
No Valentine indeed, for sacred Sylvia. Has she forsworn me?
No, Valentine.
No Valentine, if Sylvia have forsworn me. What is your news?
Sir, there's a proclamation that you're vanished.
That thou art banished. Oh, that's the news. From hence, from Sylvia, and from me, my friend.
I've fed upon this woe already, and now excess of it doth make me surfeit. Doth Sylvia know that I'm banished?
Aye, and she hath offered to the doom, which unreserved stands in effectual force. A sea of melting pearl, which some call tears. Those at her father's churlish feet she tended, with them upon her knees her humble self, wringing her hands whose whiteness so became them, as if but now they waxed pale with woe. But neither bended knees, pure hands held up, sad sighs, deep groans, nor silver-shedding tears could penetrate her uncompassionate sire. But Valentine, if he be ta'en, must die. Besides, her intercession chafed him so, when she for thy repeals was suppliant, but to close prison he commanded her, and with many bitter threats of biding there.
No more, unless the next word that thou speakst have some malignant power upon my life. If so, I pray thee, breathe it in mine ear, an ending anthem to my endless dolor.
Cease to lament for what thou canst not help, and study help for that which thou lamentst. Time is the nurse and breeder of all good. Here, if you stay, thou canst not see thy love. Besides, thy staying will abridge thy life. Thy letters may be here, though thou art hence, which being writ to me shall be delivered even in the milk-white bosom of thy love. The time now serves not to expostulate. Come, I'll convey thee through the city gate, and ere I part with thee, confer at large of all that may concern thy love affairs. As thou lovest Sylvia, though not for thyself, regard thy danger, and along with me.
I pray thee, Launce, and if thou seest my boy, bid him make haste and meet me at the north gate.
Go, Sarah, find him out. Come, Valentine.
My dear Sylvia, hapless Valentine.
I'm but a fool, look you, and yet I have the wit to think my master is a kind of knave. But that's all one if he be but one knave. He lives not now, that knows me, to be in love. Yet I'm in love. But a team of horse shall not pluck that from me. No, nor who 'tis I love. Yet 'tis a woman. But what a woman? When I tell myself, yet 'tis a milkmaid. Yet 'tis not a maid, not a maid, not a maid, not a maid, not a maid. For she hath had gossips. Yet 'tis a maid for her master's maid and serves for wages. Here's the catalog of her condition. And promise she can fetch and carry. Why, a horse can do no more. Nay, a horse cannot fetch, but only carry. But therefore is she better than a jade. Item, she can milk. Look you, a sweet virtue and a maid with clean hands.
Now, Senior Launce, what news with your mastership?
My mastership. It's at sea.
Ah, your old vice still mistake the word. What news then in your paper?
Blackest news thou ever heardst.
Why, man, how black?
Well, black as ink.
Let me read them.
Fine, thee jolthead, thou canst not read.
I can.
I will try thee. Tell me this. Who begot thee?
Mary, the son of my grandfather.
Oh, illiterate loiterer. It was the son of thy grandmother. This proves that thou canst not read.
Oh, come, fool, come, try me in the paper.
There. St. Nicholas be thy speed.
Huh?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
A premise, she can milk.
That she can.
Item, she brews good ale.
And therefore comes the proverb, blessing of your heart, you brew good ale.
Item, she can knit.
What need a man care for a stock with a wench when she can knit him a stock?
Item, she can wash and scour.
We can skip that one.
Item, she can spin.
Then may I set the world on wheels when she can spin for her living.
Item, she hath many nameless virtues.
Well, that's as much to say bastard virtues that indeed know not their fathers and therefore have no names.
Here follow her vices.
Oh, close to the wheels of her virtue.
Item, she is not to be kissed fasting in respect of her breath.
Well, that fault may be mended with the break fast. Read on.
Item, she hath a sweet mouth.
That makes amends for her sour breath.
Item, she doth talk in her sleep.
Well, it's no matter for that. So she sleep not in her talk.
Item, she is slow in words.
Oh, villain. Then set this down among your vices. To be slow in words is a woman's only virtue. I pray thee out with it and place it for her chief virtue.
Item, she's proud.
Out with that too. It was Eve's legacy. Cannot be taken from her.
Item, she hath no teeth. Item, she hath no teeth.
Okay. I care not for that neither, for I love crusts.
Item, she's cursed.
Well, oh, the best is she hath no teeth to bite.
Item, she will often praise her liquor.
Oh, well, if her liquor be good, she shall. If she will not, I will, for good things should be praised.
Item, she is too liberal.
Of her tongue she cannot, for that's writ down she's slow of. Of her purse she shall not, for that I'll keep shut. Now, of another thing she may, and that I cannot help. Well, proceed.
Item, she hath more hair than wit, and more faults than hairs, and more wealth than faults.
Stop there. Stop. I'll have her. She was mine, and not mine twice or thrice in that last article.
What then?
Why then I will tell thee that thy master, he stays for thee at the North Gate.
For me?
For thee. Who art thou? He hath stayed for a better man than thee.
And must I go with him?
Thou must run to him, for thou hast stayed so long that going will scarce serve the turn.
Why didst not box your love letters?
Lothario, fear not, but that she will love you. Now Valentine is banished from her sight.
Since his exile hath despised me most, since his exile she hath despised me most, forsworn my company, and railed at me that I am desperate of obtaining her.
A little time will melt her frozen thoughts, and worthless Valentine shall be forgot. How now, Sir Proteus? Is your countryman, according to our proclamation, gone?
Gone, my good lord.
Yeah, my daughter takes his going grievously.
A little time, my lord, will kill that grief.
So I believe, but Thurio thinks not so. Proteus, the good conceit I hold of thee, for thou hast shown me some sign of good desert, makes me the better to confer with thee.
Longer than I prove loyal to your grace, let me not live to look upon your grace.
Thou knowest how willingly I would effect the match between Sir Thurio and my daughter.
I do, my lord.
And also, I think thou art not ignorant how she opposes her against my will.
She did, my lord, when Valentine was here.
What might we do to make the girl forget the love of Valentine and love Sir Thurio?
The best way is to slander Valentine with falsehood, cowardice, and poor deceit. 3 things that women highly hold in hate.
Aye, but she'll think that it is spoken hate.
Aye, if his enemy deliver it. Therefore it must with circumstance be spoken by one whom she esteemeth as a friend.
Then you must undertake to slander him.
And that, my lord, I shall be loath to do. It is an ill office for a gentleman, especially against his very friend.
Where your good word cannot advantage him, your slander never can damage him. Therefore the office is indifferent, being entreated to it by your friend.
You have prevailed, my lord. If I can do it by aught that I can speak in his dispraise, she shall not long continue love to him. But say this weed her love from Valentine, it follows not that she will love Sir Thurio.
Therefore, as you unwind her love from him, lest it should ravel and be good to none, you must provide to bottom it on me, which must be done by praising me as much as you in worth dispraise Sir Valentine.
And Proteus, we dare trust you in this kind, because we know on Valentine's report you are already love's firm votary, and cannot soon revolt and change your mind. Upon this warrant shall you have access where you with Sylvia may confer at large, for she's lumpish, heavy, melancholy, and for your friend's sake will be glad of you, where you may temper her by your persuasion to hate young Valentine and love my friend.
As much as I can do, I will effect. But you, Sir Thurio, are not sharp enough. You must lay line to tangle her desires by wailful sonnets, whose composed rhymes should be full fraught with serviceable vows.
Aye, much is the force of heaven-bred poesy.
Say that upon the altar of her beauty you sacrifice your tears, your sighs, your heart. Write till your ink be dry, and with your tears moist it again, and frame some feeling line that may discover such integrity. After your dire lamenting elegies, visit by night your lady's chamber window with some sweet concert. To their instruments tune a deploring dump. The night's dead silence will well become such sweet complaining grievance. This or else nothing will inherit her.
This discipline shows thou hast been in love.
And thy advice this night I'll put in practice. Therefore, sweet Proteus, my direction giver, let us into the city presently to sort some gentlemen well skilled in music. I have a sonnet that will serve the turn to give the onset to thy good advice.
About it, gentlemen.
We'll wait upon your grace till after supper, and afterward determine our proceedings.
Even now, about it. I will pardon you.
Fellows, stand fast. I see a passenger.
If there be 10, shrink not, but down with them.
Stand, sir, and throw us that you have about ye. If not, we'll make you sit and rifle you.
Sir, we are undone. These are the villains that all the travelers do fear so much.
My friends,
Peace,
Listen.
peace. We'll hear him.
Oh, that's not so, sir. We're your enemies.
Peace, we'll hear him.
Aye, by my beard, will we, for he's a proper man.
then know that I have little wealth to lose. A man I am crossed with adversity. My riches are these poor habiliments, of which you see should here disenfranchise me. You take the sum and the substance that I have.
Whither travel you?
To Verona.
Whence came you?
From Milan.
Have you long sojourned there?
Some 16 months, and longer might have stayed if crooked fortune had not thwarted me.
What, were you banished thence?
I was.
For what offense?
For that which now torments me to rehearse. I killed a man, whose death I much repent, but yet I slew him manfully in fight, without false vantage or base treachery.
Oh, I ne'er repented, if it were done so. But were you banished for so small a fault?
I was, and held me glad of such a doom.
Have you the tongues?
Oh, my youthful travel therein made me happy, or else I often had been miserable.
By the bare scalp of Robin Hood's fat friar, this fellow were a king for our wild faction.
We'll have him. Sirs, a word.
Master, be one of them. It's an honorable kind of thievery.
Peace, villain.
Tell us this. Have you anything to take to?
Nothing but my fortune.
Know, then, that some of us are gentlemen, such as the fury of ungoverned youth, thrust from the company of awful men. Myself was from Verona vanished, for practicing to steal away a lady, an heir, and near allied unto the Duke.
And I from Mantua, for a gentleman who in my mood I stabbed into the heart.
And I for such like petty crimes as these, but to the purpose, for we cite our faults that they may hold excused our lawless lives, and partly seeing you are beautified with goodly shape, and by your own report a linguist, and a man of such perfection as we do in our quality much want.
Indeed, because you are a banished man. Therefore, above the rest, we parley to you. Are you content to be our general, to make a virtue of necessity and live as we do in this wilderness?
What sayst thou? Will thou be of our consort? Say I, and be the captain of us all. We'll do thee homage and be ruled by thee, love thee as our commander and our king.
But, if thou scorn our courtesy, thou diest.
And thou shalt not live to brag what we've offered.
I take your offer, and will live with you, provided that you do no outrages on silly women or poor passengers.
No, we detest such vile, base practices. Come, go with us. We'll bring thee to our cruise and show thee all the treasure we have got, which, with ourselves, all rest at thy dispose.
Already have I been false to Valentine, and now I must be as unjust to Thurio. Under the colour of commending him, I have access my own love to prefer. But Sylvia is too fair, too true, too holy to be corrupted by my worthless gifts. When I protest true loyalty to her, she twits me with my falsehood to my friend. When to her beauty I commend my vows, she bids me think how I have been forsworn in breaking faith with Julia, whom I loved. And notwithstanding all her sudden quips, the least whereof should quell a lover's hope, yet spaniel-like. The more she spurns my love, the more it grows and fawneth on her still. But here comes Thurio. Now must we to her window and give some evening music to her ear.
Now, Sir Proteus, are you crept before us?
Aye, gentle Thurio, for you know that love will creep in service where it cannot go.
Aye, but I hope, sir, that you love not here.
Ah, but I do, or else I would be hence.
Who, Sylvia?
Aye, Sylvia, for your sake.
I thank you for your own. Now, gentlemen, Let's tune and to it lustily a while.
Now, as my young guest methinks you're Ali Collie, I pray you, why is it?
Marry, mine host, because I cannot be merry.
Oh, come, we'll have you merry. I'll bring you where you shall hear music and see the gentleman that you asked for.
But shall I hear and speak?
Aye, that you shall.
That will be music.
Ah, hark, hark.
Is he among these?
Aye, but peace. Let's hear him.
Goes out to a very special lady. You know who you are. Who is Sylvia? What is she? And all of the swains commend her. Holy, fair, and wise is she. The heaven such grace did lend her, that she might admire and be. Is she kind as she is fair? Yeah. For beauty lives in kindness. Love doth to her eyes repair. Yeah. To help him of his blindness, and being helped inhabit there. Then to Sylvia let us sing, that Sylvia is excelling. She excels each mortal thing. Upon the top earth dwelling, to her let us garlands bring. To her let us garlands bring. Everyone, to her let us garlands bring. To her let us garlands bring. Let us garlands bring. To her let us garlands bring. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, how now? Are you sadder than you were before? How do you, man? The music likes you not.
You mistake, the musician likes not me.
Why, my pretty youth?
He plays false, father.
How? Out of tune on the strings?
Not so, but yet so false that he grieves my very heartstrings.
You have a quick ear.
Aye, I would, deaf. It makes me have a slow heart.
I perceive you delight not in music.
Not a whit when it does so.
No, hark. What fine change is in the music?
Aye, that change is spite.
You would have them always play but one thing?
I would always have one play but one thing. But host, this Sir Proteus that we talk on often resort unto this gentleman.
I tell you what Lance's man told me. He loved her out of all nick.
Where is Lance?
Oh, gone to see his dog, which tomorrow, by his master's command, he must carry for a present to his lady.
Please, stand aside, the company parts.
Sir Thurio, fear not you. I will so plead that you shall say my cunning drift excels.
Where meet we?
At St. Gregory's Well.
Farewell.
Madam! Good even to your ladyship.
I thank you for your music, gentlemen. Who is that spake?
One lady, if you knew his pure heart's truth, you would quickly learn to know him by his voice.
Sir Proteus, as I take it.
Sir Proteus, gentle lady, and your servant.
What's your will?
I may compass yours.
You have your wish. My will is even this, that presently you hie you home to bed, thou subtle, perjured, false, disloyal man. Thinkst thou I am so shallow, so conceitless, to be seduced by flattery, that hast deceived so many with thy vows? Return and make thy love amends. For me, by this pale queen of night, I swear I am so far from granting thy request that I despise thee for thy wrongful suit, and by intend to chide myself even for this time that I spent talking with thee.
I grant, sweet love, that I did love a lady, but she is dead.
Were false, I should speak it, for I am sure she is not buried.
Say that she be. Yet Valentine, thy friend, survives, to whom thyself art witness, I am betrothed. And art thou now not ashamed to wrong him with thy impudency?
I likewise hear that Valentine is dead.
And so suppose am I, for in his grave, assure thyself my love is buried.
Lady, let me rake it from the earth.
Go to thy lady's grave and call hers hence, or at the least in her sepulchre thine.
He heard not that.
Madam, if your heart be so obdurate, vouchsafe me yet your picture for my love. The picture that is hanging in your chamber. To that I'll speak, to that I'll sigh and weep, for since the substance of your perfect self is else devoted, I am but a shadow, and to your shadow will I make true love.
If 'twere a substance, you would sure deceive it, and make it but a shadow as I am.
I am very loath, sir, to be your idol, but since your falsehood shall become you well to worship shadows and false shapes, send to me in the morning and I'll send it, and so good rest.
All wretches have all night that wait for execution in the morn.
Host, will you go?
Oh, by my halidom, I was fast asleep.
Lady, where lies the Proteus?
Mary, at my house. Trust me, I think 'tis almost day.
Not so, but it hath been the longest night ere I watched, and the most heaviest.
This is the hour that Madam Sylvia entreated me to call and know her mind. There's some great matter she'd employ me in. Madam! Madam!
Who calls?
Your servant and your friend, one that attends your ladyship's command.
Ah, Sir Eglamour, 1,000 times good morrow.
Many worthy lady to yourself, according to your ladyship's impose. I am thus early to come to know what service it is your pleasure to command me in.
Ah, Eglamour, thou art a gentleman. Think not I flatter, for I swear that I do not. Valiant, wise, remorseful, well accomplished, thou art not ignorant what dear goodwill I bear unto thy banished Valentine, nor how my father would enforce me marry vain Thurio, whom my very soul abhors. Thyself hast loved, and I have heard thee say no grief did ever come so near thy heart as when thy lady and thy true love died, upon whose grave thou vowedst pure chastity. Sir Eglamour, I would to Valentine, to Mantua, where I hear he makes abode, and for the ways are dangerous to pass, I do desire thy worthy company, upon whose faith and honor I repose, as full of sorrows as the sea of sands, to bear me company and go with me, if not, to hide what I have said to thee, that I may depart alone.
Madam, I pity much your grievances, which, since I know they virtuously are placed, I give consent to go along with you, recking as little what betideth me as much I wish all good befortune you. When will you go?
It is even coming.
Where shall I meet you?
At Friar Patrick's cell, where I intend holy confession.
I will not fail your lordship. I'm a man of my word.
Oh, good morrow, kind Sir Eglamour. Oh.
Now when a man's servant shall play the cur with them, look you, it goes hard. One that I brought up of a puppy. One that I saved from drowning when 3 or 4 of his blind brothers and sisters went to it. I taught him, even as one would say precisely. That's what I teach a dog. I was sent to deliver him as a present to Mistress Sylvia from my master. I came no sooner into the dining chamber, but he steps me to her trencher and steals her capon's leg. Oh, 'tis a foul thing when a cur cannot keep himself in all companies. I would have, as one should say, one that takes upon him to be a dog indeed, to be as if it were a dog at all things. If I had not had more wit than he to take a fault upon me that he did, I think verily he'd be hanged for it. Sure as I live, he'd suffer for it. You shall judge. He thrusts me himself into the company of 3 or 4 gentlemen. Hey. Well, he thrusts me himself into the company of 3 or 4 gentlemen like dogs under the Duke's table. He had not been there, bless the mark. A pissing while, but all the chambers smelt him. Out with the dog, says one. What cur is that, says another. Whip him out, says the third. Hang him up, says the Duke. I, having been acquainted with the smell before, knew it was Sevi, and goes me to the fellow that whips the dogs. Friends, quoth I. You mean to Oh, Jesus. You mean to whip the dog? I marry, do I? Quoth he. You do him the more wrong, quoth I. 'Twas I did the thing you wot of. He makes me no more ado, but whips me out of the chamber. How many masters would do this for his servant? Nay, I'll be sworn, I have sat in the stocks for puddings he hath stolen. Otherwise he'd been executed. I've stood on the pillory for geese he hath killed, otherwise he had suffered for it. Thou thinkst not of this now? Nay, I remember the trick you served me. When I took my leave of Madam Sylvia, did not I bid thee still mark me and do as I do? When didst thou see me heave up my leg and make water against a gentlewoman's farthingale? Didst thou ever see me do such a trick? Did you?
Sebastian is thy name. I like thee well and will employ thee in some service presently.
In what you please, I'll do what I can.
I hope thou wilt. How now, you whoreson peasant? Where have you been these 2 days loitering?
Mary, sir, I carried Mistress Sylvia the dog you bade me.
And what says she to my little jewel?
Well, Mary, she says your dog was a cur and tells you currish thanks is good enough for such a present.
But she received my dog?
No, indeed, no, she did not. Here, I have brought him back again.
What, didst thou offer her this from me?
Why, sir, the other squirrel was stolen by from me by the hangman boys in the marketplace. Then I offered her mine own, who, he's a dog as big as 10 of yours, and therefore the gift the greater.
Go get thee hence and find my dog again, or ne'er return again into my sight. Away, I say! Stayest thou here to vex me? Sebastian, I have entertained thee partly that I have a need of such a youth that can with some discretion do my business, for 'tis no trusting to yond foolish lout. But chiefly for thy face and thy behaviour, which, if my augury deceive me not, witness good bringing up, fortune and birth. Therefore, know thou, for this I entertain thee, go presently and take this ring with thee. Deliver it to Madam Sylvia. She loved me well, delivered it to me.
It seems you loved her not, leave her token. She be dead belike.
Not so, I think she lives.
Alas,
Why dost thou cry alas?
cannot choose but pity her.
Therefore shouldst thou pity her?
Because methinks that she loved you as well as you do love your Lady Sylvia. She dreams of him that has forgot her love. You dote on her that cares not for your love. Pity love should be so contrary, and thinking of it makes me cry, alas.
Well, give her that ring, and therewithal this letter. That's her chamber. Tell my lady I claim the promise of her heavenly picture. Your message done, hie me home unto my chamber, where thou shalt find me, sad and solitary.
How many women would do such a message? Alas, poor Proteus, thou hast entertained a fox to be the shepherd of thy lambs. Alas, poor fool, why do I pity him that with his very heart despiseth me? Because he loves her, he despiseth me. Because I love him, I must pity him. This ring I gave him when he parted from me, to bind him to remember my goodwill. And now am I, unhappy messenger, to plead for that which I would not obtain, to carry that which I would have refused, to praise his faith which I would have dispraised. I am my master's true confirmed love, but cannot be true servant to my master, unless I prove false traitor to myself. Yet I will woo for him, but yet so coldly, as heaven knows, I would not have him speed. Little woman, good day. I pray you be my mean to bring me where to speak with Madam Sylvia.
What would you with her, if that I be she?
If you be she, I do entreat your patience to hear me speak the message I am sent on.
From whom?
From my master, Sir Proteus, madam.
Oh, he sends you for a picture.
Aye, madam.
Go, give your master this. Tell him from me, one Julia, that his changing thoughts forget would better fit his chamber than his sorrow.
Madam, please, you peruse this letter. Oh, pardon me, madam. I have unadvised delivered you a paper that I should not. This is the letter for your ladyship.
I pray me, let me look on that again.
It may not be, madam, pardon me.
There, hold. I will not look upon Your master's lines. I know they are stuffed with protestations and full of newfound oaths, which he will break as easily as I do tear this paper.
Madam, he sends your ladyship this ring.
Ugh, the more shame for him that he sends it me, for I have heard him say 1,000 times, his Julia gave him it at his departure, though his false finger have profaned the ring. Mine shall not do his Julia so much wrong.
She thanks you.
What sayest thou?
I thank you, madam, that you tend to her. Poor gentlewoman, my master wrongs her much.
Dost thou know her?
Almost as well as I do know myself. Think upon her woes, I do protest. I have wept 100 several times.
Like she thinks that Proteus hath forsook her?
I think she doth. That's her cause of sorrow.
Is she not passing fair?
She hath been fairer, madam, than she is. When she did think my master loved her well, she, in my judgment, was as fair as you. But since she did neglect her looking glass and threw her sun-expelling mask away, the air hath starved the roses in her cheeks and pinched the lily tincture of her face, that now she is become as black as I.
Alas, poor lady, desolate and left. Oh, I weep myself to think upon the words. Oh, here, youth. Oh, there is my purse. I give it thee this, oh, for thy sweet mistress' sake, because thou lovest her. Farewell.
And I shall thank you for it, if ever you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master's suit will be but cold, for she respects my mistress's love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see. I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little, unless I flatter with myself too much. Her hair is auburn. Mine is perfect yellow. If that be all the difference in his love, I'll get me such a coloured periwig. Her eyes are grey as glass, and so are mine. Aye, but her forehead's low, and mine is high. What should it be that he respects in her, but I can make respect of in myself? If this fond love were not a blinded god, oh, come, shadow, come and take this shadow up. 'Tis thy rival. Oh, thou senseless form, thou shalt be worshipped, kissed, loved, and adored. And were this sense in his idolatry, my substance would be statue in thy stead. I'll use thee kindly for thy mistress's sake, that used me so, or else by Jove, I vow, I should have scratched out your unseeing eyes to make my master of love with thee.
Sun begins to gild the western sky, and now it is the very hour that Sylvia at Friar Patrick's cell should meet me. See where she comes. Lady, happy evening.
Amen, amen. Go on, good Eglamour, out at the postern by the abbey wall. I fear I am attended by some spies.
Fear not, the forest is not 3 leagues off. If we recover that, we're sure enough.
Sir Proteus, what says Sylvia to my suit?
Sir, I find her milder than she was, and yet she takes exceptions at your person.
What, that my leg is too long?
No, that it is too little.
I'll wear a boot to make it somewhat rounder.
But love will not be spurred to what it loathes.
How like she my discourse?
Ill when you talk of war.
But well, when I discourse of love and peace?
But better indeed when you hold your peace.
What says she to my valor?
Oh, sir, she makes no doubt of that.
She needs not when she knows it is cowardice.
What says she to my birth?
You are well derived.
Hey, a gentleman to a fool.
Considers she my possessions?
Oh, aye, and pities them.
Wherefore?
That such an ass should owe them.
That they are out by lease.
Here comes the Duke.
How now, Sir Proteus? How now, Thurio? Which of you saw Sir Eglamour of late?
Not I.
Nor I.
Saw you my daughter?
Neither.
Why then, she's fled unto that peasant Valentine, and Eglamour is in her company. 'Tis true, for Friar Lawrence met them both as he in penance wandered through the forest. Him he knew well, and guessed that it was she, but being masked, he was not sure of it. Besides, she did intend confession at Patrick's cell this even, and there she was not. These likelihoods confirm her flight from hence. Therefore I pray you, stand not to discourse, but mount you presently, and meet with me upon the rising of the mountain foot that leads towards Mantua, whither they are fled. Dispatch, sweet gentlemen, and follow me.
Why, this it is to be a peevish girl that flies her fortune when it follows her. I'll after more to be revenged on Eglamour than for love of reckless Sylvia.
And I will follow more for Sylvia's love than hate of Eglamour that goes with her.
I will follow more to cross that love than hate the Sylvia that is gone for love.
Come, be patient. We must bring you to our captain.
1,000 more mischances than this one have learned me how to brook this patiently.
Come, bring her away.
Where's the gentleman that was with her?
Being nimble-footed, he hath outrun us. Go thou with her to the west end of the wood. There is our captain. We'll follow him that's fled. The thicket is beset. He cannot escape.
Come, I must bring you to our captain's cave. Fear not. He bears an honorable mind and will not use a woman lawlessly.
Valentine, this I endure for thee.
How use doth breed a habit in a man? This shadowy desert, unfrequented woods, I better brook than flourishing peopled towns. Oh, here can I sit alone, unseen of any, and to the nightingale's complaining notes, tune my distresses and record my woes. Oh, thou that doth inhabit in my breast, leave not the mansion so long tenantless, lest growing ruinous the building fall, and leave no memory of what it was. Repair me with thy presence, Sylvia, thou gentle nymph. Cherish thy forlorn swain. What hallooing and what stir is this? Oh, these are my mates that make their wills their law. They have some happy passenger in chase. They love me well, yet I have much to do to keep them from uncivil outrages. Withdraw thee, Valentine. Who is this comes here?
Madam, this service I have done for you, though you respect not aught your servant doth, to hazard life and rescue you from him that would have forced your honour and your love. Vouchsafe me for my meed but one fair look. A smaller boon than this I cannot beg, and less than this I am sure you cannot give.
Like a dream is this I see and hear. Love, lend me patience to forbear a while.
Miserable, unhappy that I am.
Unhappy were you, madam, ere I came, but by my coming I have made you happy.
By thy approach thou makest me most unhappy.
And me when he approacheth to your presence.
Had I been seized by a hungry lion, I would have been a breakfast to the beast rather than have false Proteus rescue me. Oh, heaven, be judge how I love Valentine, whose life is tender to me as my soul, and full as much. For more there cannot be. I do detest false perjured Proteus. Therefore begone, solicit me no more.
What dangerous action, stood it next to death, would I not undergo for one calm look? Oh, 'tis the curse in love and still approved that women cannot love where they're beloved.
When Proteus cannot love where he's beloved, read over Julia's heart, thy first best love, for whose dear sake thou didst thy rend thy faith into 1,000 oaths, and all those oaths descended into perjury to love me. Thou hast no faith left now, unless thou shew, and that's far worse than none. Better have none than plural faith, which is too much by one. Thou counterfeit to thy true friend.
In love, who respects friend?
All men but Proteus.
Nay, if the gentle spirit of moving words can no way change you to a milder form, I'll woo you like a soldier at arm's end, and love against the nature of love. Force ye!
No, God, heaven!
I'll force thee yield to my desire!
Ruffian, let go that rude, uncivil touch, thou friend of an ill fashion!
Valentine!
Thou common friend, that's without faith or love for such Such is friend now. Treacherous man. Thou hast beguiled my hopes. Not but mine eye could have persuaded me. No, I dare not say I have one friend alive. Thou wouldst disprove me. Who should be trusted when one's own right hand is perjured to the bosom? Proteus, I'm sorry. I must never trust thee more, but count the world a stranger for thy sake. The private wound is deepest. Time most accursed amongst all foes, that a friend should be the worst.
My shame and guilt confounds me. Forgive me, Valentine. If hearty sorrow be a sufficient ransom for offence, I tender it here. I do as truly suffer ere I did commit.
Oh, then I'm paid. I am once again received the honest, who by repentance is not satisfied, if not of heaven nor earth, for those are pleased, by penitence the eternal wrath's appeased. And that my love may appear plain and free, all that was mine in Sylvia I give to thee.
Oh, me, unhappy!
Look to the boy.
Why, boy, why, Hannah, what's the matter? Look up, boy, speak.
Oh, sir, my master charged me to deliver a ring to Madam Sylvia, which out of my neglect was never done.
Where is that ring, boy?
Here. Is this it?
Oh, let me see. Why, this is the ring I gave to Julia.
Oh, cry you mercy, sir, I have mistook. This is the ring you sent to Sylvia.
But how camest thou by this ring? At my depart, I gave this unto Julia.
Julia herself did give it me. And Julia herself hath brought it hither.
How, Julia?
Behold her, gave him to all thy oaths, and entertained him deeply in her heart. How oft hast thou with perjury cleft the root? Oh, Proteus, let this habit make thee blush. Be thou ashamed that I have took upon me such an immodest raiment, if shame live, in disguise of love. It is the lesser blot modesty finds, women to change their shapes than men their minds.
Than men their minds. 'Tis true, O heaven, were man but constant, he were perfect. The one error fills him with faults, makes him run through all the sins. Inconstancy falls off where it begins. What is in Sylvia's face that I may spy more fresh in Julia's with a constant eye?
Come. A hand from either. Let me be blessed to make this happy close. For pity, two such friends should be long foes.
Bear witness, heaven. I have my wish forever.
And I mine.
A prize! A prize! A prize!
Forbear, I say, it is my lord the Duke. Your grace is welcome to a man disgraced, banished Valentine.
Sir Valentine?
Yonder is Sylvia, and Sylvia's mine.
Curio, give back, or else embrace thy death. Come not within the measure of my wrath. Do not name Sylvia thine. If once again Verona shall not hold thee, here she stands. Take but possession of her with a touch. I dare thee but to breathe upon my love.
Sir Valentine, I care not for her. I hold him but a fool that will endanger his body for a girl that loves him not. I claim her not, and therefore she is thine.
The more degenerate and base art thou to make such means for her as thou hast done, and leave her on such slight conditions. Now, by the honour of my ancestry, I do applaud thy spirit, Valentine, and think thee worthy of an empress' love. Know then, I here forget all former griefs, cancel all grudge, repeal thee home again, plead a new state in thy unrivalled merit, to which I thus subscribe. Sir Valentine, thou art a gentleman and well derived. Take thou thy Sylvia, for thou hast deserved her.
Thank your grace. The gift hath made me happy. I now beseech you, for your daughter's sake, to grant one boon that I shall ask of you.
I grant it for thine own, whate'er it be.
These banished men that I have kept withal are men endued with worthy qualities. Forgive them what they have committed here, and let them be recalled from their exile. They are reformed, civil, full of good, and fit for great employment, worthy lord.
Thou hast prevailed. I pardon them and thee. Dispose of them as thou knowest their deserts. Come, let us go. We will include all jars with triumphs, mirth, and rare solemnity.
And as we walk along, I dare be bold with our discourse to make your grace to smile. What think you of this page, my lord?
I think the boy hath grace in him. He blushes.
I warrant you, my lord, more grace than boy.
What mean you by that saying?
Please you, I'll tell you as we pass along, that you will wonder what hath fortuned. Come, Proteus. 'Tis your penance but to hear the story of your loves discovered. That day, our day of marriage shall be yours. One feast, one house, one mutual happiness.
don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Well, for the last time, welcome to the post-show talk back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If this is your first night, welcome, and we'll see you never. And if you've been with us for the past 13 or so weeks, thank you so much. We'll see you never. Yeah, this is the last one, and we're gonna end it as we have ended each and every one since. So we'll begin with a talkback, or no, Q&A, words. So the first question, which I have heard roughly 38 times, and I'm going to remember in mere minutes, is what did you learn about this play that you may not have known before this reading? And YouTubers, please drop any reactions to these questions and just questions that you have regarding this play, any of the plays, or the whole experiment itself while we're doing this. But for now, I'm going to open it up to the cast. What'd you learn today?
The whole play was new to me. I didn't know it at all. So it's where it goes is where it goes in the text is a huge shock, let alone the stuff that comes before it. But yeah, I didn't know it in the least, so it was all brand new.
But it loves a bit with a dog.
Yeah, I learned there's a real future in acting for my dog that's probably going to be far more successful than I will ever be. So I'll wrestle with that till I die. But that's fine. Anyone else got an answer to the question, what'd you learn today?
Oh man, just having moved backwards, seeing how much of the stuff in here was gonna pop up later on. We could have. It feels like, you know, it's loaded with Easter eggs, but it's not. It's loaded with all this stuff that he's gonna come back to, and he's gonna rip off and pack into different places. It was wild.
I didn't know that Fry Lawrence was busy before Romeo and Juliet.
Exactly.
And who is
That part.
Mercatio?
Yeah, I felt the same thing about Friar Lawrence. Like, man, that guy loves Mantua. It's probably like a really nice place. What do we got in the YouTube, Dan, if anything?
Yeah, we got stuff. Of course,
Great.
of course. We got Dee Rand says, Dylan, your soliloquies were awesome. Joe Quinn, yeah, so many foreshadowing elements. Ann Kemmerer says, great job, Proteus. You made me hate you. Amber Elby shares that Crab is the star of this play. A whole bunch of questions about Alex and your relationship with Maker's Mark tonight. And then a comment, I love Alex's speed with Maker's Mark. And Sevi was great. Coming out of the YouTube.
Yeah, thank you, YouTube. Appreciate that love. And thank you, Dan, for heading the YouTube comments tonight. So then moving on to question number 2, which is another question that I'm going to grapple with and sort of talk while my brain sort of remembers what it is. What phrase, image, word, or moment, or feeling, I think as we keep going, there's more synonyms to that word. So what popped out today? And you can fill in the blank with what that noun is. I'll open it up to the cast, and YouTube, you're willing to do it too. Yeah, Kathy.
Tash in bed. That was beauteous.
That was a Tom.
Oh.
I will not take credit. Credit where credit's due. That was a Kanji.
Beautiful.
Me taking my bra off. That was me.
I couldn't do anything there.
Yeah, you guys were glorious together as always. Anyone else from the cast want to pop in?
Just sort of riding on the back of what we said before, that there's just loads of lines pinging out from other plays, like tongue in his tail, just sort of what seems to be sort of standard go-to hilarious lines that Shakespeare likes to keep reusing throughout everything, or is going to be reusing throughout everything. There's a lot of that.
All right. Oh yeah, Joel.
I was gonna say the word consent, and I think Dan, you had one of them as Eglamour, and that's when it popped because you leaned into the words, so I did a Control F in the script, and then I realized it shows up twice, and Proteus is the first person who says it, and so of all the plays for that to come up, that was really surprising and startling, and it makes me wonder what did he think that meant, or maybe what did it mean for any of them.
That was something new that, I mean, I guess the whole play was new, but all the talk about how young Proteus is, he needs to go out and grow up, he needs to learn about the world. But he then ends up going out, this is probably for the next question more than anything, but he then ends up going out, and this whole idea of consent, it shows how little he actually knows about anything when he leaves. About humans, let alone about just acting in court.
What has the YouTube looking there, Dan?
Good as always. Big shout out to the YouTube community in general. There was an ongoing conversation throughout the entire evening tonight when people would hear things that resonated with other plays. And they're just shouting them out like, oh, that's this, that's that, that's this, that's that, which was really cool. So I'm not gonna go through and read all of them because it was a 90-minute experiment, which is pretty dope. Laura Piccoli adds, when Proteus said farewell to Valentine and they blew kisses to each other. Sherry, Valentine's line, here can I sit alone, unseen by any, hit hard. Kristen Soul, moment that jumped out today. Proteus apologizes to Valentine, but not to Sylvia. Joe Quinn jumping out, I think him so because I think him so. And Ann Kammerer says, it should have been named The Two Objects of Desire.
Oh man. By the way, hi mom. Hi mom. All right, so then moving on to the third question and the final question of our Q&A. Why does this play matter to you or to the world or the zeitgeist right now? Or why does this play not matter? And if so, why? Hop on in, cast.
Mine isn't massively profound. However, I think it's interesting that this play, Shakespeare sets up his own trope for the rest of the canon. Everything that we see coming up is in this play, pretty much. Rings, swapping lovers, infidelity, sexual desire, all of those things are set up in this one.
Yeah, definitely. There's some things you just can't shake as a writer, and that sort of like maintains throughout. Anyone else want to jump in?
I had one, and actually it was something I realized as I was saying it, was, again, it's a line that pinged out. Proteus has a line about saying, if only women would realize they need to love the people who love them. That's paraphrasing it. That idea of consent and blaming someone else for not loving you because you've loved them, and where that can then take you, I think is definitely a conversation that still needs to be had with a lot of people, and a lot of young people.
I think also the Duke jumps in at the end and he distributes forgiveness on behalf of a lot of other people that aren't him. And the situation has, you know, he wasn't there when it all unfolded, but he comes in essentially, you know, speaking for himself, but as a person of power, kind of telling everyone else, like, here's the situation, okay? And saying like, cool, like all our, you know, all our bitterness is forgotten, like any of our resentments are, that's all past, so let's move on from here. And so often you see situations like this kind of violence that shoved under the rug because someone has the most powerful voice in the room and they say like, we're all moving on, right? And that's also not consensual.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes me think of like a presidential pardon for the states, and how like the one individual has that power to sort of wash clean, and it depends on an individual, which is kind of what he did. Before we jump into the YouTube comments, does anyone want to hop in with a final thought on this question? That is, and that's a big no. So Dan.
I will go against everything I told myself all during today, and I'll answer this question briefly, which is simply to say that it's a play that makes you think it might be a comedy, and it's not fucking funny. So if we can have conversations with the audience and artists that push beyond how did you learn those lines, then we should do those plays, and this is one of those plays. And I think the time is now for this play. That being said, I'll switch over to the YouTube. And Kammerer says COVID.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I'm going back up. Yeah. That's how do you feel about ending the Coco's experiment? COVID was a correction of Coco's. Joe Quinn, how does one handle the ending in a modern production? Perhaps that's the biggest idea that defines how this play resonates today. And Sherry said, which had 1, 2, 3 up arrows and a so true. Sherry says, CP's last look into the camera brought a whole different feeling to the happy ending. it was pretty devastating.
Mm.
And we've got the relationship between Proteus and Valentine reminds me of a short I recently saw between David Tennant and Michael Sheen.
Who's who?
Pub talk.
Thank you for your input on question number 3, YouTubers. And if there's any questions you have that you have not already put into the chat, now's the time. And that is concerning two gents. That is concerning, because this is our final day, the project at large. Any other things? What our favorite color is? Anything you'd like, and we will choose to answer them or not. But I also want to take this time while you guys sort of throw some things in to thank everyone here in the cast for being a part of this, and those that are watching too that are also a part of this ensemble. It was a wild experiment, and we've reached a close. So with that sort of wandering dialogue to allow people to type in any questions, Dan, what you got?
Yeah, there's, the YouTube's here for us tonight. I got like questions. So I'm gonna try to get them all in, and we'll just move through briskly, or we'll dig in, because here we are. Play-related questions. Joe Quinn asks, bigger scumbag, Proteus here or Bertram? All's well that ends well.
Proteus.
Proteus.
Vote Proteus.
I got a follow-up question for the pub. Then why does Bertram get the guff? If you ask, I agree that it is Proteus, but why does Proteus skip that? That's a pub question. We got a question from Kristen Soul. How does Proteus reconcile his internal conflict? How does Proteus reconcile his internal conflict? I'm going to start with the person who read Proteus tonight, and then we'll bring it to the room.
If you take the ending of the play as being, it is meant to be a happy ending, everyone's happy, and he does reconcile his internal conflict, then that's a really difficult question to ask. The way we went with it, I'd say he didn't reconcile he just was racked with guilt, and the best thing to do was follow the natural flow of the river at that point, which was taking him to marry Julia, who he did realize, I think, that, my God, she is still someone who I could be in love with, but she's just seen me do what I've done and be who I am. And I think guilt ends up solidifying him into that relationship in the production that we've just created. Whether that's what the play was doing, I don't know.
We'll shift now to the rest of the cast. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to respond to either the question or Tom's response or anything that's being said, pop it in, and I'll do my best to shepherd us through that.
Say, Tom, beautiful work. It was really cool to experience seeing you play with, like, when am I holding it together and when am I falling apart and what pieces of myself am I grabbing onto? And I think it really helped make that character human, and even like I knew it was going to happen and I'm still like, okay, he's going through a thing. Like, I had some empathy. So
it was something on that. Thank you. It was something Tash said yesterday at the read through about how at first you go, oh, okay, fine, it's awkward, but he's just found someone else he's fallen in love with. Fine. But then eventually he does this thing that makes you go, oh God. And I guess there's something to be said for, and I think there's something genuinely human of the way something like that, if you're not used to dealing with your emotions in that way, can just completely break you down. And to the point where he falls into a sociopathic fucking black hole for a while and just can't do anything about it. It was really interesting actually finishing all that moment and then just seeing the image of you sitting back next to the bed, of just going, how do we move on from here? This is now public. this, because you don't see it at first, literally, because you're moving stuff around, you're doing what you need, you're doing your action for it. But then seeing you there, it was, yeah, twisted it.
Great.
Yeah.
Bumping along.
Yeah, what's the next one?
Unless you had thoughts there, Dylan?
No, my thought was, what's the next one?
You got it. This is a very specific question with one person in mind for the answer. The only JS asks Alex, was that laugh part of the play, Alex, or were you reading the YouTube chat? Hee hee hee.
No, I was thinking of Dan.
Great, thank you. You're welcome, everyone involved in that question. I am curious, as a follow-up, another post-show pub question is relationship between the artists and the YouTube chat. But we'll get to that as part of our post-mortem.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, next question.
Oh, I thought Alex had another thought.
Oh, no.
Okay. We've got a question here from Amber Elby. Which was better for y'all? The first play or the last play? Which was better for y'all? The first play or the last play? Which was better for y'all?
I've kind of been kind of looking at this whole thing as a singular experiment. So like I'm trying not to look at them as one play. Like it's not like, you know, we're doing Hamlet, so we should be more excited about Hamlet. It's like this is the experiment of Shakespeare Happy Hours, like the entire canon. So I don't think better is involved in that. They're very different. We're much more familiar with the medium now. We can like improvise things that otherwise we would not have been able to. That being said, in my personal opinion, there's a precipitous drop in skill of writing as we reach toward the first play that he wrote. So it was interesting to like, we're getting better as a company with this medium, and he's getting worse as a writer with this these words. So it was really interesting. Like, I don't know what it has done. I'm still going to reflect on it. But yeah, they both presented their own challenges and joys, I think.
Kathy, it looked like you were speaking, but were muted.
Yeah, right. I just think I think there's such an improvement as we went on, just because we got used to the whole Zoom thing and the whole idea with props and passing them back and forth. And we got a little bit more experimental with just how we were doing everything. I thought there was a great improvement as we went along.
Yes, in my opinion and personally, I felt better. I've been feeling better with the time, because for me, this was my first dive into Shakespeare ever. I never said a word of Shakespeare's before.
Wow.
So learning from every cast member here, it was really helpful, and I'm gonna absorb that forever for my career. So yes, thank you.
You're amazing. Tash, you had something to throw in?
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think as we've all gotten to know each other better-ish, in our different like little islands wherever we are, I think that's what's helped the improvement is a little bit of trust that we can afford the person or persons behind the screen in a way that, like, you would do it in rehearsals, you'd have 4 weeks or however many weeks to get to know each other and love each other and live in each other's pockets. But every day or every 3 times a week, we turn up, we have our little rectangle and we go, oh, it's such and such and such and such, and how are you and what's been going on? And I think it's us geeing each other up, really, has helped with the improvement of it, because we know we've got each other's backs if anything goes wrong.
I hope we'll have an opportunity to all get together sometime and in one big room together. It'd be lovely.
Major airlines, we have opportunities we'd love to discuss with you.
Always working, never stopping. CP. YouTube popped off there for you, pal. Yays, yes, yes, yay. That's so cool. You go, girl. Wow, diving into something like this as a first foray into Shakespeare is really impressive.
Yeah.
So a lot of love for pal. Yeah, we talked about that behind the scenes early on. Like, why go backwards? Just because, like, as artists, we got to figure out Zoom. That's new news. So that's new early career for us. So if we go late career Shakespeare, by the time we figure out Zoom, we'll be landing in the stuff that he didn't know, and maybe we can help each other out. That was a fun little piece of this, which leads to the next question. Ben Cordis asks, what have you learned about the entire canon? Boom. That's a no holds barred. Thank you, Ben. What have you learned about the entire canon across this series? Any through lines that jumped out? Any characters that show up multiple times? I think the distilled question here is, what have you learned about the entire canon across this series?
I've learned that he's a playwright. I know that sounds weird, but in the sense that he, like any playwright, has certain themes and things he likes to discuss and seems to know maybe more about than other things and goes into more depth with, and has words and lines that he uses and reuses because he does, because he knows they work maybe, or because they sing to him in some way. So there is not there is repetition, but it's not necessarily boring because it's just reusing. He knows what's good. He's a craftsman.
I feel the audience, or his desire to give the audience what they want or draw them in, is much higher up in my awareness now, through that repetition, through the fact that he, the fathers and the daughters, and isn't it nice having a bit of time to yourself in the country rather than having to run the place. All these things that he keeps circling around these certain areas, doesn't he? And I kind of think, well, of course, that must be to do with him. But I also got a really strong feeling that it's like, hey, what about this, folks? It's what stand-up comedians do, isn't it? A lot. They go, oh, you know that thing when.
Going off of what Tom said, something I heard recently about the mark of a good game. The mark of a good game is that it's developed enough that it can make the player forget that all they're doing is continually repeating the same loop over and over again. Like whatever game you're playing, whether it's a video game or a board game, all games have a similar recurring loop, whether it's go over here, press the button, shoot the thing. Or if you're playing a board game like chess, for example, the loop is just moving the pieces over and over again. But the mark of a great game makes you forget that that's all you're doing. You're just repeating the same loop over and over again. And I think it applies here that the mark of a good playwright is that they can make you forget that you're seeing a lot of the same thematic elements over and over and over again. And it really was not until we started doing all of these in rapid succession, before I started noticing, there's the bed trick again. Oh, wow. Here are the same characters and locations over again. There's more disguises and more rings. Oh, there's yet another problem play that focuses around a breakdown in communication. And unless you're doing them in this kind of rapid format, you never really notice the recurring loops that occur, which I think, to back up Tom's point, is a mark of a really, really good playwright.
I would say that I learned in doing all this that none of it's sacred. Hamlet was just as low budget as this one, and they're all worth doing and they're all worth moving beyond. Don't dwell there too long. Get past it. because ultimately I think that the only sacred thing about it was all of us being together doing it. And we should do that as much as possible with all of them. So yeah, don't just think that there are like 7 peaks worth climbing. Climb them all and then move past and then climb them again.
Dope.
Yeah.
We got 2 more. Oh yeah. No, Alex, please. It's you.
I think it's really dope to watch an artist over the course of almost 40 pieces of work that still resonate 400 years later, dissect humanity in a way that still feels really prescient. Like I always fell in love with it because of love speeches, right? Or specifically speeches of fathers and sons, or sons to fathers, and like how relevant it felt, the emotions that people were feeling 400 years ago and the situations they found themselves in. Not the particulars. I know nothing about like English geography or royalty or what it is to be a lord or any of that sort of thing. But when the plays are at their best, it's just humans having human interaction. And it's really beautiful that someone codified that. Like someone found a way to write down what it is to be a human being into English history. English, the language history, I mean. And it's incredible. And like watching kings ruminate on what it is to be a man versus a king versus a peasant, or like, what is the meaning of fatherhood? What is the meaning of love? What is the meaning of death? And these are all questions that we grapple with in our own ways, but this guy like fucking wrote it down. He got the essence of what it was to be a human being on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I think that's what sticks out to me after all this, is that this process has humanized Shakespeare for me, where before I saw it as sort of a canon or an untouchable writer, or like perfection, an institutionally revered individual. And through this process, I've been able to see recurring themes. I've been able to that he made imperceptible, like Daniel said. I've been able to see like incredible humanity that I see every day in people down the street. And I would not have had that that luxury were it not for this process, because I cannot read these plays. I fall asleep when I read Shakespeare. It's so many words, it's awful. But with what Dan and CP and Monty, 7 Stages and Rude Grooms have put together for us, I have been so lucky to have heard all of these works, and I'm much better for it. I feel like I know the writer better, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yeah. Hopping in on that and heading towards our last 2 questions to get us home. Shakespeare wrote not just, it was so great to write. He wrote The Expanse of Humanity, which is not possible with 3 people. It's possible with a team. And this was a team effort, and fucking learned a lot about these plays because of the number of voices in this group who are here tonight and who are not here tonight. But it was team effort, and that's woo. Okay, not yet. Not gonna, nope. But there's so many perspectives. There's so much in there. Having studied these plays, but to hear it within one sort of orchestra was pretty fucking cool. We got a question. Home, sorry?
Bring us home. It was last.
Yeah. Kristen Soul asks, what's the Zoom equivalent of a wooden O?
Who said it earlier? Rectangles. Like the little rectangles. Who said that earlier?
Followed up with a rectangle of pixels.
Oh no, it's the yellow or green rectangle that moves around to tell you who's talking.
I think it's the if y'all look at what you have, there's a little camera lens that is circular, and it encapsulates everything that I'm doing. That's what it is for me.
I think it's when you've got it on gallery view and you can see everyone at the same time. Whoever's there is there and entirely included. So like now, this is the wooden O, because we're all here, we're all completely present, watching each other and experiencing it. That might be what I lean into.
I think the summer of 2020 is going to be called the Gallery of Rectangles, like when I look back at this epoch.
Yeah, I think about the cranium. I think like the wooden O is just this wooden circle that protects our brains, and it allows for imagination, and it's the audience, and it's the cast, and it's the greater. It's this is the wooden O that Shakespeare is fucking with consistently, and that we get to play with in this medium, in the Zoom equivalent especially. Is like, I don't know. We don't have a stage, but all we have is our minds.
When has
Last
that
question.
stopped us before?
Now, Adam Andrew bringing us home with our 38th final question. Our final question of this iteration. Please, dear, what will you be doing now that this grandiose extravaganza is done?
Resting. For at least a week.
What outside looks like. I've noticed as we started to wind down, I've started taking more and more walks outside. And I'm like, oh yeah, nature. That's a thing.
Going to sleep before the daylight starts here.
Never, Tash, never. We're staying up till late in the morning, 3 days a week.
Yeah, big shout out as an Eastern United States coast-based team to everyone on the other side of the pond who's doing these starting at 10 p.m. each night.
Oh my gosh. I am willing to let Dan and Chrissy and Monty have a nice long week's rest, but I'm going to be curious about what the next idea is going to be. You always seem to come up with something intriguing, interesting. So that's what I'll just be sitting here waiting to hear about the next idea. No pressure, guys.
I love it, Kathy.
I'm gonna watch a lot of films, cinema, and read as many modern plays as I can from playwrights who are alive right now that I can pay.
I'm gonna swim.
No, sit in the sun and let the world slip.
I'm going to miss all of you.
Well, I'm going to take a trip to Portsmouth, so.
Yay.
All right, this is the moment, guys. Get your last licks in. If there's anything unsaid you want to say it now or forever hold your peace, or like get hammered and meet everyone in the pub and then tell them what you've always thought, which is, I think, what the pub is for. We good? I think we're good. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this wild experiment. I hope that each of you watching has learned at least one thing. And I think if a lot of us have, then I think many of you have as well. And to my mom and dad, I'm glad you've had something to listen to from 5 to 6:30, between 6:30 and 7, varying on the play. And yeah, the link to the Patreon still up there, I think. Monty, right? Still up there.
It's still there. PayPal's still there.
Now it's like a whole thing. It's not like before you were waiting. It's like, oh yeah, they're gonna fuck up this play, so we're not gonna pay them. Now like, you saw the whole thing. So
Is this the time for that 2 weeks from now Patreon pub thing?
Maybe.
What do you think, Monty?
Yeah. So we're definitely taking a week of doing absolutely nothing. Then there may be something that won't be programming, but may happen the week after that. So if you would like to find out about that, make sure that you're on that Patreon, because that'll be where you find out about it first.
Very enticing and cryptic information that I would pay for, just to know. I might not even show up, but I want to know.
And Patreon charges per event. So for this thing, you don't have to even pay anything. You just sign up. There's not going to be a thing you have to pay for.
Wow.
Yet.
Sign me up. Wait, I didn't say that. Wait, it's recorded. Oh no.
Sign Dylan up.
All right, then, guys. If you're gonna join us in the pub, join us. But till then, or till the next time we see y'all, thank you so much for being with us. This has been a lovely experience.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you all so much.